Hey guys, it's been a long time since I've done a Minecraft redstone video, and I just wanted to show you all my newest creation. So first of all, what I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to create an automated rail terminal. I've created one over there, and that's going to come up in a future video, but uses a much more simple system than this. The thing that I'm dealing with right now is the second part of this automated rail station is going to be on the second floor. Because of this, I need to have a way of communicating via remote. And by remote, I mean using as few wires as possible, which means I need to have only one wire going from the communication hub down to the actual routing area for the carts themselves. Basically, I'm going to have three things coming out of there. I'm going to have one cart outgoing track, one incoming track, and then one wire. And that's going to be it. That's going to be all I'm going to have coming out of. So I've spent the last 3 hours toiling over how the hell am I going to do this, and I think I've cracked it. So here's a simple system. Buttons 1, 2, and 3. They're going to correspond with these tracks over here. 1, track 2, and track 3. Alright, as of right now, I forgot to show this, so I guess I'll go ahead and make this right here. This is going to be the track for heading out. So in other words, your cart is going to come from this direction. And I think I'm going to put a little powered rail right here, make it powered, so that way we know that this is the direction we're coming. I haven't done the incoming, because the incoming's real easy. There's no switching required for that. The incoming, all you have to do is just have it basically all combined together into one track and come up, and that'll do it. But so alright, this is the outgoing, and it's going to go out to tracks 1, 2, or 3. Now the idea here is we have to come over here and we have to tell it, which one's 1, 2, or 3 do we want to activate. Now, just so y'all know, I'm not BSing here. The wires are routed right here. This is the first wire, this is the second wire, and this is the third wire. Those are each connected to the buttons, and little elaborate switches here that kind of that turn those buttons into quick pulses, which are required in order to make this work properly. So, alright. And over here we've got another mechanism, which is another breakout area, which basically gives the first line priority. The second line, it divides it up into 2 hits. Divides it up into first hit, which goes this direction, and second hit, second line, which goes that direction. I think we should probably turn this back on. The third line is the same way. You've got the first line, which goes this direction, has the most direct route. You've got the second line, which has the second most direct route, like that. Then you have the third one, which goes down here, and is the least direct route. So you get 3 pulses from that. And that's basically the way it's going to work. Everything's going to work in pulses. Now, it's going to connect up with this wire right here. I should have done a little better job. It's going to follow this wire this way, 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 and this is going to be the receiving end. So that entire wire right there is going to be able to travel an infinite distance, and that's going to be the only wire connecting the two together. Let's come over here. I've had to design another little kind of breakout switch, which basically switches back and forth, but they all combine into the same line. That's just simply because redstone doesn't move quick enough to do what I want it to do. So this basically creates a fully switchable mechanism, which makes it fairly easy to follow. I probably could have combined those two. I'll see about refining that later. And then of course this right here is the actual receiver end. And without going into too much detail, this completely routes to each of the different switches, which are going to be 1, switch 2, and switch 3. And then goes around and resets itself once it's done. In order to do that, we have to do a variety of timing mechanisms, which unfortunately makes the reset switch kind of long. But alright, enough jabber. Let's see. So we've got 1. So we need to go over here and hit button 1 to turn that on. So let's go ahead and do that. So here we go. and as you can see, one has now been turned on. So cart now goes this direction. So what happens if we push 2? We're going to now hit 2 pulses, and there we are. Number 1 has now been turned off, and number 2 has been turned on. So now it's going to route it directly to 2. So now in order to do 3, we have to turn 2 off. So we're going to go ahead and hit 3. 1, 2, 3 pulses. There we go. Now number 2 is off, and number 3 is active. So what's cool about this system is that if I want 1 to be active, all it does is send 1 pulse, and it only activates number 1. It doesn't even touch number 2. And there you go. It touches, it hit number 1, and number 1's activated. If I hit 3, it resets it again. So, whoops. Hit 3, it's going to reset 1. Number 2 is going to remain the same. As you can see, it switches through them very quickly. Now, same thing, I can do the same thing in reverse. I can hit number 2. And there we are. So number 2 works. And there's your switch. Alright, and as I was going to say, this is basically a Minecraft version of a serial port. Because it only uses one line, it can only send information 1 bit at a time. So it sends it in pulses. Either 1 pulse, 2 pulses, or 3 pulses. Now what's cool about this is we can continually expand this design right here as far down as we want, or at least until the until we start running out of signal. And at that point we got to kind of rethink our move on that. But and we can just continually do that until we just run out of room. That's really cool because it will continually work. So probably what's going to happen is I'm going to use it for 6 or 7 positions. And then we can come over here and basically do the same thing, a switching mechanism. Now, to put it bluntly, what this does is basically it comes up here for number 1, it turns on that one, and then comes around here, and it turns on number 1, and in the process it also sets itself up for number 2. The second pulse doesn't come down, it immediately turns number 2 off by rerouting and turning this alternative route off. For 2 pulses, it turns on number 1, sets the route for number 2, then the pulse hits for number 2, sets the route for number 3, and actually turns number 2 on. And then from there, at that point the reset sequence has already started again. So now we have number 1 has been turned on and then off, and then number 2 has been turned on. And that happens each time. Same thing with number 3. You turn on number 1, it turns on the route for number 2, turns on number 2, turns on the route for number 3, turns on number 3. Now in the process, it's also turned off number 2 and number 1. So now, number 3 is the only one that's active. And then of course it goes around and resets everything. Again, infinitely expandable if you just set the timing correctly. And I think that's the biggest key here, is getting the timing correct. If you get the timing correct, you can make this massive. You can make it probably 20, 30 long, but I don't recommend doing that unless using this method unless you want to wait 20, 30 seconds. Anyway, I'm going to keep experimenting with this, but I expect to move this design into an actual prototype stage. Well, I mean, this is the prototype, so I expect to move it into a new stage for our upcoming modernized automated rail system. But anyway, have any questions, please feel free to PM me. We also have a brand new server that we're working on, so if you'd like to come see some of the handiwork, I wouldn't mind showing it off and kind of giving you a little tutorial on it. Anyway, so this is a serialized port, and it can be used for a remote connection for an automated train system. And that's all I got for now. Thanks for watching.